Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Bramall. I'm here today to talk to you about the Next Generation Science Standard 3-PS2-2. The Next Generation Science Standard 3-PS2-2 says make observations and/or measurements of an object's motion to provide evidence that a pattern can be used to predict future motion. A clarification statement. Examples of motion with predictable pattern could include a child swinging in a swing, a ball rolling back and forth in a bowl, and two children on a seesaw. Assessment boundary. Assessment does not include technical terms such as period and frequency. The learning objective. At the conclusion of this lesson, students will be able to design and construct marble ramps, then measure the speed a marble travels when released on the ramps. They will be able to provide evidence that a pattern can be predicted for future motion. Vocabulary I chose for this lesson are force, which is a push or a pull, motion, or the process of an object moving or being moved, pattern, a repeating arrangement of numbers, colors, or shapes, and speed, how far an object goes in a specific amount of time. Materials needed: marbles, tape, books, timer or stopwatches, paper plates, wooden blocks, cardboard tubes, from toilet paper rolls, paper towels, wrapping paper, rulers with indented centers, trial worksheets, pencils, notebooks, and iPads or computers, one for each group. Engagement. To introduce this project, I'm going to start out with talking to the students about whether they've ever walked down a hill or ran down a hill or walked or ran down a ramp. How different did it feel from walking on flat ground? Did they feel like they were going faster? Did it make them run faster? Did they get down quicker than had they just walked? Next, the teacher is going to release a marble down the ramp that she has built as an example for the students. Then we're going to discuss with the students changes that could be made to the ramp to either make the marble go faster or slower. The last thing on the introduction we're going to do is we're going to create a vocabulary wall chart for all the students to be able to reference during their lesson. Next, we're going to start by exploring. Students will be split into groups of 3, and they will be given access to a couple toy sets for marble ramp building. They're going to be able to create different ramps and manipulate them and change them to see what makes the marble go slower or faster. They will then get on the computers and research other marble ramp designs and other materials to make marble ramps out of. Lastly, on Explore, the students will design 3 different marble ramps using found materials. Found materials are things such as cardboard tubes, paper plates, rulers, books, and wooden blocks. The students will then draw these in their notebook. On each page, they will draw one design, and they will write down what materials they will need to use to build that ramp, and then they will explain why they think their marble will either go faster or slower on that particular ramp than other ramps they have. Next, the students will elaborate. They will elaborate by building their ramps. They will then perform 3 time trials on each ramp, writing the results down on the worksheet provided. Next, the students will predict how quick the marble will go down the ramp on the 4th time, using the results from their previous time trials to determine how fast or slow they think it'll go. Finally, they will complete the 4th time trial. After they complete the 4th time trial, they're going to write down whether they predicted correctly for each ramp. E-learning. Next, the students are going to look up other things ramps are used for. Each group is going to design a hypothetical ramp for something besides a marble. For example, they can design a ramp for skateboarding or a ramp for a go-kart park. When they draw their hypothetical ramp, they're going to describe what materials that it needs to be made of to make it structurally safe or make it right. Now, assessment. Informal assessment for the students will be done utilizing a rubric. Students will be assessed through observation. They will be assessed on participation in whole class discussion and through lab group participation. They will also be assessed on completion of their ramp designs and predictions of whether the marble will roll slower or faster on each ramp. The formal assessment will be completed on completion of the lab write-up, Appendix A. They will be assessed for understanding of the lesson objective by the accuracy of predictions based off the time trials and their explanations of why. Differentiation. The lesson can be differentiated to fit the needs of exceptional learners through added opportunities for them to complete more trials or utilize other objects and predict what different weights of objects might do on the ramps compared to the marbles. Next, the lesson will be modified or changed for students with IEPs and 504 plans by reading the questions on the worksheet aloud for them, and a reduction in ramps to allow extra time for them to complete the tasks necessary to understand the learning objective. These will all be done in accordance with the IEP and 504 recommended accommodations for the students. ELLs will be accommodated by being given the worksheet in their original language and in English to help with understanding. They will be provided the vocabulary words and definitions in their own language also. Alignment. The objective for this lesson aligns with the NGSS standard by asking students to predict the pattern of the speed at which the marble will travel, and then justify their conclusion with evidence gained from the activity. The lesson is inquiry-based in that the students are designing and building the marble ramps themselves. It utilizes the 6 C's and 7 C's by engaging students early through exploration and allowing them to be creative in their design. The lesson supports e-learning with ramp research and calls for students to explain their design and elaborate on what happened. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Look forward to seeing you again soon.